Good morning and welcome back to Let's Coach 2023. My name is Lani Kim, and I'm one of the coaches here on campus. Thanks so much for being here and joining us. So today is a departure from my usual subject and kind of thoughts on that subject, but today I wanted to share something from a client of mine. I was rereading this after kind of checking in with this client. So I thought, wow, it's so interesting to read some of the progress of my clients. And I really hope this inspires you that you can be in a very different place in a very short amount of time. And what I mean by that is a different place that you want to be, a different place that you choose to be. This is not a should. This is not a you're behind, you're catching up. This is just, I see a journey for myself. I see a vision for myself, or I'm on a mission and I'm taking steps towards those things. And so naturally, there's going to be some changes that come across. And so I wanted to share with you with the end result, not even the very end result, but more like a marker in the road could look like. So my client initially came to me wanting to lose weight. She wanted to lose weight. And that was the surface thought or the surface concern. But there was a lot of other ideas and issues underneath all of that. So I wanted to share that this is 9 months. So this is the progression that she had in 9 months, from thoughts of really focusing at that time, thinking that she wanted to lose weight, to not only addressing losing weight. So she had a goal, she hit that goal, and then some. And she's been able to maintain this for 2 years. Um, and so that's also what I wanted to share, that this work is for the long haul. This work is what you get to take with you permanently. Okay, so she wanted to lose weight. She was really, really focused on that. But other things came up. And what we both realized is she was carrying some burdens, and the way that it manifested in her life was weight. It was a physical manifestation of some mental, some spiritual burdens that she was holding on to. So when we addressed those, a lot of other changes happened in her life, big changes for her. And that was really, really exciting, really gratifying to know that she was in such a better place, and really having momentum going towards the goals that she had set for herself. And not only conscious goals, but she had some unconscious goals when we really unpacked what is it really that she was looking for. There was things there that she didn't even realize. Okay, so let's get into those. She called herself her name 2.0. How am I different from when I started coaching? in December 2020. So I don't have to believe every thought that pops into my head. I can choose thoughts that serve me. I have unlimited questions I can ask instead of using willpower. That was a really big one for her. I get to decide what I weigh. I get to decide how my weight defines my body image. I don't live in a scarcity mentality. I can eat whatever I want using my plan, and my joy eats. I don't have regrets or beat myself up about eating quote unquote poorly. However, if I'm not pleased with my eating or results, I can plan to change my plan or think in a new way. I am not limited by the old way of thinking or behaving. And that is the thought that really 99% of us have or deal with in some capacity. There's other thoughts attached to it or go alongside it, but that is a huge one. I do not have food calling to me. And if I do, I am curious about the thought or feeling that may be prompting it. I have the tools to maintain my weight forever. So this was a big breakthrough for her because what we unpacked is the fact that she would go about her weight loss with fervor, right? I'm going to attack this. But the way that she had, the way she saw the future was, it was also cyclical. So, excuse me. Oh, that is sneeze, excuse me. So she thought in these cycles, right? I run towards it and then I lose the weight I need to lose, but inevitably it's going to come back on. And so she really wasn't focused on maintenance. What does it take to maintain that? And I don't mean a plan of I eat a banana with oatmeal for breakfast. For lunch, I eat 5 ounces of chicken and salad and, like a tablespoon of dressing. I mean, a mental plan. What thoughts come through her head as she maintains her weight? And this is the part that's hard because we think that these thoughts should already be there, or we don't even realize how powerful those thoughts are because they're so subconscious. They're so practiced that we don't realize we have to practice a new set of thoughts. Okay, so back to her list. Instead of refocusing and regrouping after gaining 20 pounds, I will refocus and continue my plan at 1 or 2 pounds. So this was relating to her maintaining her weight forever. She was just and she was, instead of thinking cyclically, like, what do I do after the 20 pounds comes on, right? She will focus on 1 or 2 pounds at a time. And that was that even when she was losing the weight, she was already imagining regaining it. So she was like way ahead of herself instead of just focusing on the present and what she could control and what was more of a lifestyle of way of thinking rather than, okay, I'm temporarily going to do this. It's probably going to come back on, and really focusing on that, which sometimes is why she wouldn't even start sometimes, because the thought was, it's going to come back. Is this really something I want to do? So if there was an event, she would do it. But if there wasn't, it's kind of not motivating to her. This was another milestone in her journey. I don't need my old quote unquote, or not quote unquote, parentheses, big clothes. They were not the friend that I felt that they were. So she would always keep two sets of clothes because in her mind, she just knew she was going to need the larger set. And that was comfort. She thought it was comforting her. Like they were old friends saying, it's okay if you gain a couple pounds or even a little more than a couple pounds. We're here for you. Okay, next sentence. I'm able to working on using my hunger scale and satiation scales. So that was the tool that we were using, or she was using, while she was losing her weight. Of course, this is post. It is possible to maintain weight on vacation. Again, that was completely the way she thought about it, not so much her plan. And she did. She went on a 7 to 10 day trip to Hawaii where she's been before. And so she has all her favorite places to eat at. And she always had this thought of, okay, I'll prepare myself to gain 5 pounds, 7 pounds. And then whether she keeps it or loses it wasn't even kind of the next step that she had. She just kind of in her head made room for that. And so we wanted to think about that differently. I can now feel true hunger and am not constantly hungry. So there's a physical hunger, and then there's a comfort that some of us, a lot of us get from eating food, because depending on what we're eating, there's a dopamine high from that, which is the same neurotransmitter that is released when we win things, when we go on roller coasters. So food can give us that same kind of experience. And so food is not just to satiate our hunger. Obviously, people overdo it. And so we had to work on understanding what the physical sensation of hunger felt like that came from our physical needs versus a starting up here in our head, a thought of I need comfort right now, so I'm going to eat some salsa and chips. Okay. My food plan could be considered somewhat restrictive considering the typical food choices I am making. So having a food plan for her was just something that she had to confront and decide how she wanted to think about a food plan, if she wanted to use one. So that was a thought that she had towards it. However, there's 100% more freedom in my life, in my brain, to make these food choices. So these two thoughts are connected. And her point was her lens could look at a food plan as restrictive. However, she could also think about that choice very differently and think that it actually gave her the freedom to feel healthy in life. So having to say, because she knew that certain foods actually physically didn't make her feel good. And so those are the first ones that we addressed in terms of why does she keep eating those foods if she knows they don't make her feel good. And so the way her mind worked was looking at them as restrictive, or not looking at the foods, but looking at the choice to not eat those foods and to have not backup foods, but foods that she planned to eat in advance as restrictive. But instead, she focused on the freedom of knowing that she's not going to be sick. She is not truly hungry. It's her brain needing something else. Her brain maybe is feeling overwhelmed or sad or depressed, whatever it might be, right? So instead of having being controlled by those thoughts and feelings, she had freedom from feeling guilt after eating, indulging. She had her freedom of health. She had freedom to wear the clothes she wants to wear instead of having the big clothes that she had to wear. So that's what those two sentences are referring to. So this is an example of, I don't know where you are in your journey, but there is so much out there for you. There's unlimited amounts of thoughts, and they're all available to you. And I just want to encourage you that there could be so much change in your life. In even this, this was 9 months, but even less than 9 months. What it takes is saying yes to thinking differently, yes to feeling differently. Sometimes the rhythm of how we feel becomes comforting to us, as maybe silly and unbelievable as that sounds. Sometimes creating a emotional habit is comforting for us. Knowing we're going to be disappointed and creating that disappointment helps our brain think, okay, this is our plan. This is our routine. I know it's going to happen. Instead of your brain taking the risk of trying something different and not knowing the outcome, because it's afraid that the emotions you feel are going to be so crushing that you're going to die. No one has ever died from a single emotion. It's continuing that, living in that emotion that is crippling and crushing. But experiencing that emotion once has never killed anyone. And so it's taking that, just raising your hand to the possibility of life looking different. And then it takes commitment to see it through. And that is a lot of work, because we have to give grace to ourselves, which, if you are having a stream of thoughts in some area of your life where you've been beating yourself up, you haven't been giving yourself grace. And so it's going to be new to you. And especially if you're very successful, right? What most people would term as successful, this is even harder, because that cognitive difference, the way your brain is looking at the rest of your life and this one area of your life, it's thinking, oh, we've got it, right? We just have to keep doing what we do to get that result in this one area of our lives. But this is a whole nother arena. There's something else going on here, whatever that aspect of your life is that feels limiting or you're stuck in. You've got to examine it, and your brain's going to really want to resist that. And there's going to maybe be some ego and pride behind that, to think just thinking a different thought's going to change everything. No way. Right? So it's raising your hand, admitting to it, to think and feel differently, and giving yourself some grace. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'd love to hear if you raised your hand to this. And the way that you can do that is email hello@lifecoachuniversity.com and we will receive that message, and know that sometimes we get to share your messages to us, and that inspires other people. It's not just us coaches here who are inspiring people. You have that power to inspire yourself and to inspire other people. And that is how we pay it forward. All right. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week. Take care.